Welcome, everyone.
Welcome to United in Healing in support of the Domestic Abuse Project. My name is Shayla Reeves.
And I'm Mike Augustinak, and together we're hosting tonight's presentation.
Thank you, Mike. We are so thankful to all of you that you could join us tonight. This is Domestic Abuse Project's 43rd year of serving as a leader in pioneering innovative and effective responses to domestic violence. DAP emphasizes whole family healing while addressing the intergenerational trauma that perpetuates the domestic abuse epidemic.
That's right, Shayla. As I learn more about DAP's work, I continue to be increasingly impressed about how the organization uses a restorative practice lens to heal whole family systems and to end cycles of abuse. It is because of this important mission that we're gathered here tonight to support DAP in raising funds to continue and expand the work they do.
Please help us reach our fundraising goal tonight. A gift of any amount will help support DAP's important work. Please consider making a contribution right now at givebutter.com/unitedinhealing2022. Or you can text Healing 2022 to 53555.
This will be an impactful evening where you will hear participant stories. You will hear from Emethany Keefe, the executive director at DAP. Staff will share about why they're committed to this important mission, and board members will share why they support this organization with both their time and financial resources.
DAP has been excited to provide platforms for storytelling and change in partnership with Global Rights for Women, the Missing and Murdered African American Women's Task Force, Outfront Minnesota, the Little Earth Community, Brian Coyle Center, Pumalani, and other community partners.
DAP has had a big year filled of listening to the community and having participants share their experiences, their challenge, and successes in a way that has led us to advocacy on systems and community levels.
Let's start the night by listening to Cassandra's story of courage and strength.
I was married, and I knew that that was a really toxic marriage, but I didn't know how to get out of it. I didn't know anything about mental abuse and verbal abuse. We're divorced now, but in my marriage, there was a lot of physical abuse. Once my husband at the time, when he was gone, when he was locked up, that's when I was waking up and just, what's going on? It's before DAP, I would never recognize myself. I would never say that I was worthy at all for anything. I don't matter. I didn't have friends. I was very quiet. I think I was scared. I think I was scared to reach out for any kind of help. DAP really opened up my eyes. The one thing that stood out to me about DAP was just they were patient with me. They listened. I've been learning how to set boundaries and how to cut off toxic relationships. I've learned that I can be full of joy and not be afraid of people and just go up to people and start conversations. It's okay. I was just building a lot of friendships at work, and then a lot of those friendships, a lot of those ladies, they've actually went through a lot of what I've experienced too. And there's things that those ladies are this is what they've been doing on their healing journey. It's oh, well, I should take that into consideration. This is what I've done and what I've learned. And they want to take that and just healing together. My pivotal moments were all when the ladies, they were patient, or when other ladies, when they had stories, and everybody could just surround that person with all the emotions and cry with them and just wow, it's not even just you, or it's not even just me. We can all work together. It was like a family. And just seeing the empathy pour out. The domestic violence have impacted my children greatly. They're all diagnosed with PTSD. They all have anxiety. They all have triggers, suicidal thoughts. How are they going to take this experience and how are they going to apply it to their life? Because I don't want them to go through what I went through. We're learning how to set boundaries. Boundaries is our topic right now for my kids and I. And being able to calm your body. Is it a big deal? Is it not a big deal? Let's take a deep breath. Let's talk about it slowly, walk away. We're actually starting to learn all that kind of stuff. We're learning that now, and we're all working together. My oldest son, he's almost 16, and he's had a girlfriend for 2 years, and he's just so gentle to her. He's I'm doing the opposite. he really did take that into heart. So it's amazing. Since achieving coming here, I work full-time now. I have my own place, a new car I was never allowed to have. You're not allowed, like, come on now. I know my worth now. I definitely know my worth. So I've accomplished a lot. I've got money saved up so I can move on to bigger and better things. I've never been able to do that. And I've been learning how to like control if like a panic attack is gonna come on or anxiety or something. Like, you know, I've been able to achieve myself like mentally that too, and to like learn and grow and to teach my children the same stuff too, so that they don't get into the situations that I was in. People should definitely donate to DAP because like, I see red flags all the time. Like I see people differently now, and I see so many like broken families and broken men and women and children. I see it everywhere. There needs to be more programs like this, like DAP, everywhere. This needs to keep on going and it needs to get bigger. It is so scary to ask for help. I tell you what, it is so humbling. I feel like DAP was the biggest foundation, was the biggest help for me. It just really helped me to know that there are people out there that are going to help you learn and grow. Thanks. Thank you so much.
What a powerful story. This is a reminder of how important it is to consider the impact of domestic violence on children.
As an organization that works with the whole family, it is great to see the collateral impact a victim's healing can have on their children and the importance of giving children space to talk about what witnessing domestic violence is really like for them.
As we've learned, DAP works with children from birth to age 24. You're never too young or too old to talk through what it is like to witness domestic violence as a child.
Research shows that early intervention is key in breaking the cycles of domestic violence in families. By investing in youth programming and intervention and prevention programming, you too can contribute to breaking the intergenerational transmission of trauma.
Help DAP continue this essential programming by giving at the link below. DAP has served more than 150 participants in its intervention and prevention program. A gift of $1,000 would help support 40 hours of trauma-informed therapy for a participant today.
We'd now like to introduce one of DAP's participants, Anthony. Anthony tells a story of change and resilience achieved by his engagement in DAP's intervention and prevention program and through his own desire to break the cycle and engage in a healthy relationship with his partner.
I never was able to know I was mad. I would feel a mood that was negative, and I would change that with substances, hooked on chemicals, hooked on drinking. We loved each other, but it like so toxic and bad. Just, I don't know, I'm like programmed to, I'm sensitive. So somebody raises their voice at me, which seemed to happen a lot when we're drinking. Yeah, so we're fighting, we're swearing at each other, and then I flip switched and I hit her. And that's happened before, but this time it was violent. It was abusive. I didn't know what anxiety was. It was, I don't like this, let's get high, or let's drink, or let's smoke a cigarette. DAP taught me what is anxiety, what is depression, what is sadness, what is anger. It was always, every negative emotion ended up being suppressed and then coming out as anger. And I was able to learn that there's a range of emotions and process them. Not just, I feel bad, let's change it, it's why. DAP gave me the power to know that and gave me a future. And now I have a house, I pay my bills, I'm on time. I'm a union carpenter, I'm reliable at work, I'm not homeless. I can do my chores, I can take care of myself, and also I have a relationship I'm fostering, I'm taking care of. That was never able to do that. They were able to validate my experience without agreeing with the shit I did, you know, which was like, that's never happened in my life. That was kind of mind-blowing. But also, hey, let's address that, change behavior. I wish my parents would have taught me how to do that, because I know a handful of people that's what childhood is about, being able to, process that stuff and have control of their behavior. And yeah, that was the most surprising thing. I thought it was just gonna be like the criminal system, Justice Department, were bad, stop, and expecting me to learn on my own when I continue to do the same behavior over and over again and being like, what do I do? That was surprising, refreshing. I see a future. To be frank, I wanted to die. But now, after going through this program and doing the work, I have a future. And like, I went fishing with my wife yesterday, and it was the most fun I had in a long time. Mind-boggling how much power I have now over my own future. I never had one before. And I know there's millions of people out there just like me, and yeah, we need help. I know it's hard work, but I think it's really important, because take just me and my wife, for instance. What if we did have a kid? That kid's just gonna emulate behavior. I'm speaking from experience. I didn't know how to process my emotion, and that's a terrible way to live. And I feel like that just fosters more pain, more suffering. So yeah, DAP is really, really important to kind of help people like me. My dad, seeing him, he's still an addict, and I'm not, and that's something there, right? Resilience to just not. It makes me so sad that he's not using hard drugs, but it's a habit for him, and he can't process emotions. And I think I'd be a good father coming through all this. And I don't know many men, my peers, that are able to process emotions. There's no dollar and cent value you can put on giving somebody a future. If I didn't see my parents abuse each other, if I wasn't abused, the output, I could give to society. I've been in a mood where it's uplifted other people. You guys saved my life. Thank you, guys. I didn't have a future until I went through DAP.
Anthony's story highlights how investing in community-based services for individuals that use violence offers both accountability and addresses root causes of violence to allow for individual, family, and collective healing. DAP's work also focuses on breaking down ways in which we are conditioned to behave based off of our gender, and how we as society have been taught what is acceptable and not, especially if we are male identifying.
Anthony's experience is a good reminder of the struggles that folks that use harm may have faced, as well as the overall impact harm can have on their life and their understanding of what relationships could and should look like. Anthony's story is also a good reminder that healing and change are possible and can take on many forms, including being able to gain and maintain employment, have stable housing, and, as Anthony shared, find a reason to live and feel the power to create a different future for you and your family than the path that was laid out for you.
Let's turn now to hear a message from DAP's Executive Director, Anthony Keefe, as she shares more about what DAP has been up to over the last year and about how your contributions can support the important work that DAP does today and into the future.
Good evening, everyone, and thanks for joining us at our annual United in Healing fundraiser. My name is Anthony Keefe, and I am honored to be the Executive Director at the Domestic Abuse Project. Over the last year, in partnership with our incredible donors and sponsors, DAP has served over 2,300 participants. This includes community members, family members, partners, and others who reached out to our first call service, as well as those who enrolled in our 5 programs, which are advocacy, case management, and therapy programs for child witnesses, victim survivors, and individuals that use harm. Our services focus on helping families attain safety and stability, as well as have the opportunity to heal from the trauma of violence in their homes. While we have served many, the need for support is high. Waitlists are long, system partners have nowhere to refer participants that are currently separated from children or our system involved. Private sector providers are overrun and nonprofits are struggling to find skilled providers as individuals in helping professions are moving to the private sector or leaving their fields altogether. Providing sustainable wages, benefits, and work-life balance in trauma-focused fields to ensure that our providers stay healthy while they work to restore the health of our program participants is vital to the sustainability of our work and the deepening of our understanding around how to prevent domestic violence in families. We need your help today. We are truly more passionate than ever to continue bringing healing solutions to our community. But quite honestly, in order to increase sustainability, be trauma-informed with both our participants and our providers, and to meet the current community need, we need more resources. So please consider a contribution today. Community-based solutions and identifying alternatives to system responses has also been a major point of discussion and innovation in the field. It has been energizing to work with community partners, system partners, and current and former program participants in discussing community-based solutions to safety, system responses to domestic violence, including both carceral and social service systems like our own, as well as what sustainability and economic justice look like for individuals who have experienced harm. It's an exciting time to be part of the domestic violence field, as our way of advocating, fostering change, and looking to the future is different than it was only 2 years ago. Moving from a place of scarcity to abundance, from deficits to strengths, from harm to resilience, has been a shift in mindset that we often work to instill in our participants and are now working to instill within ourselves as an organization. As a donor, you can support us in making these shifts and move away from a scarcity model to being a well-resourced organization by contributing to the Domestic Abuse Project today. As an example, it's with your support that DAP has moved to a hybrid response model, offering both virtual and in-person services in order to increase access to our programs. We are engaged in our community and continue to seek opportunities to support our neighbors in learning about domestic violence and increasing the health and safety of their families. Throughout all the ups, downs, and transformations, listening to the stories of the people we are walking alongside of is by far the most important and powerful part of our work at DAP. Thank you to all of our participants that were brave enough to pick up the phone, join a Zoom meeting, or walk through our doors and share your stories. Thank you to our wonderful team that has truly shown resilience, especially over the last few years and months, and continue to show up for our families, often while you are hurting, grieving, and tired yourself. To our partners for engaging in dialogue, debate, and for dreaming up new possibilities with us. And to each of you for supporting our work and listening to the stories we are sharing tonight. A contribution of any amount today will help us continue to provide these essential resources for our participants and will help us to pay equitable wages to our incredibly dedicated and hardworking staff. We not only want to survive the pandemic, but we want to continue to thrive in order to provide healing to the communities that need them the most. Please consider giving today at givebutter.com/UnitedInHealing 2022 or text Healing 2022 to 53555.
Thanks, Amithany. That's an important reminder that organizations are still trying to find their footing since being hit with the COVID-19 pandemic.
It has taken a lot of collective resilience for clients, staff, and the organization itself to get themselves through the pandemic in such uncertain times. One thing DAP talks about is not only passing cycles of trauma down from generation to generation, but also passing resilience down from generation to generation as well. And Mike, it's been really powerful to hear the stories of the clients that DAP serves.
Yeah, Shayla, it really has. Now let's hear from a couple of members of DAP's board of directors to hear about why they're involved in this work and why they give.
Hello, I'm Mary, and I'm a donor and serve as the secretary of the board of directors at the Domestic Abuse Project.
Hello, I'm Sophia, and I am a donor and serve as the board chair and treasurer of the board of directors at the Domestic Abuse Project. I am so grateful to our participants tonight who have shared their stories of how DAP has positively impacted their lives. Of course, we asked you to join us tonight to listen to these stories of resilience and strength, because stories like those of these participants help us learn and realize that this work matters. Our impact matters.
DAP's impact is rooted in creating opportunities for program participants to conquer abuse and work toward experiencing safety and well-being. We believe that all humans deserve to feel safe, no matter the color of their skin, sexual orientation, or geographical location. I have a passion for making the lives of women and children better. In the case of DAP, the organization provides resources to build communities for all, free of violence. It's this all-inclusive approach that I most appreciate. Not only does DAP work to provide a safety plan for victim survivors, but DAP also provides services to those who perpetrate violence and the family members affected. How can one expect to eradicate violence without intervening and preventing actions of those who choose violence? How can we expect victim survivors to lead full and productive lives without helping them to heal from the issues that violence may have caused, like depression, thoughts of suicide, PTSD, etc.? DAP takes the whole individual and their community into consideration when providing services.
I give to support DAP's mission and values to erase generational domestic abuse from our communities. I also give to support DAP's programs, especially programs dedicated to helping the entire family heal and learn from domestic abuse. The youth program in particular is very close to my heart because DAP is helping children who witness domestic abuse heal from emotional trauma and preventing the domestic abuse cycle from repeating. Personally, I care a lot about preventing generational trauma. By providing our community with access to DAP services, I envision a world where generational resilience is passed down instead.
One might think they haven't been affected by domestic violence, but the fact of the matter is that we all have. If there is one person in our workplace, place of worship, school, or wherever who is dealing with violence, and the statistics indicate that there is, we are all affected. Domestic violence knows no race, economic status, gender, or sexual orientation. It's everyone's problem to help solve. My why really boils down to my belief that I am my brother's keeper. If I don't help, who will? If you're able to give tonight to help heal families and help create safety for all, we need you to join us in supporting this work. Your generous donations provide accessible, trauma-informed care for individuals who have experienced domestic violence.
We made it as easy as possible to support program participants like those you've heard from tonight. Text HEALING 2022 to 53555 or go to givebutter.com/UnitedInHealing 2022.
Hi, everyone. My name is Tom Nowak. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer at Evereve. And this is Evereve's first year participating in DAP's Fall Fundraiser. Why our first year? Because this is the first year that we learned about DAP, but we're really glad we did. And I'm very thankful for the introduction. At Evereve, we like to talk about our brand purpose as being about inspiring women to keep moving forward in their fashion and in their lives. And for us, moving forward really just means living life with a growth mindset, that we're constantly learning, we're growing, we're evolving on this journey to become our best, most confident selves, which we do believe and is great, but we all know sometimes it's not that simple. We all know life is full of lots of surprises, and sometimes those are great surprises, and other times they're more challenging, and that can slow our progress or throw us off course. And those are the times where we tend to get stuck. And we've all been stuck at some point in our lives for some reason. And when you're stuck is the moment where you really need a helping hand. And for us, that's what DAP is about. DAP is that helping hand. It's helping women reassert their agency in the world and to help them recapture and reignite a sense of confidence and self-worth. And what we think makes DAP really special is not just that it does that for the individual, but that it takes a holistic healing approach to the entire family and to the entire community. And this is a community issue. 1 in 4 women, 1 in 9 men, I think those are the numbers, have experienced some form of domestic violence. And when I think about those numbers, it tells me there's a pretty good chance somebody I was just in my last meeting with has been impacted. When I think about our thousands of stylists in our 100 stores across the country, a lot of them have been impacted. I think about our hundreds of thousands of customers, and you start to quickly realize that domestic violence is not about something that happens to other people. I think we sometimes think about that like, oh yeah, we're supporting this, it's helping those people, who have that issue. But those people are us. Those people are us. Those people are our employees and our customers. They're our neighbors, they're our friends, they're our families, and they're ourselves. So, Evereve is very proud to have an opportunity to support the important work that DAP is doing in our community. Both the staff members who are putting their hearts out there every single day, but also the program participants who are demonstrating the courage to make changes, to keep evolving and to keep moving forward. So we thank you for inviting us to participate, and we hope to do so for many years to come. Thanks.
As you're taking a moment to make a gift to DAP tonight, we'd like to take this opportunity to say thank you to our sponsors.
Thank you to Evereve, Kelly Vosberg, and Dave Murphy for being our presenting sponsors this evening.
We would also like to thank our longtime supporters and partners in healing, Love Conquers Violence, and Gustafson Glick.
Lastly, we would love to thank North Memorial Hospital for their uniting sponsorship, and Securian Financial, Perkins Family Foundation, Piper Jaffray, and Kick Branding and Design for your community sponsorships and support for helping make tonight possible. We're grateful to each of you for joining us tonight and considering a gift in support of our programs and, more importantly, our families.
As we near the end of our event, we would like to close with the voices of our providers who carry out DAP's mission every day.
I'm the Advocacy Program Supervisor. We work with victim survivors of domestic violence, and we might help them work through the court process. So that might be going to court with them, helping them write restraining orders, working with all dynamics of the family, not just the victim survivor.
I supervise all of our youth programming from birth to 18. Children learn the skills to be more regulated in settings like school or home or daycare. When they have the opportunity to express themselves through play, the symptoms and the stories that they're holding don't bother them as much, so they can show up and just be a kid.
I'm the case management supervisor and also one of the co-facilitators of our culturally responsive program. There are a lot of talented and skilled individuals who have made poor decisions. We have to take into consideration the life events that they were exposed to that were out of their hands. We have to look at the trauma that we've experienced, and we have to throw that to the equation, put that onto the balance on the justice scales, and then change our approach.
I feel like when I first started off here at DAP, it was a roller coaster. I was like I was saying, the compassion's there, the empathy piece is there, but sometimes hearing, the different dynamics and different stories, it can be really hard. But one thing I've learned is that it will be okay. And I've actually learned a lot from the participants I've worked with on my own healing journey, because I'm telling them that this is just temporary, you will get through this. But I also have to be telling myself that. And I think that's a strength that I've learned, is that I'm not willing to settle for less in any relationship that I go in, and that I am powerful, I have the power and control, and that I'm not gonna let anybody take that from me. And essentially, something I try to tell myself is that if I'm telling them that, I also have to be telling myself that.
I would say that when an individual has made up their mind that they want to do something different, to come around them with those wraparound services that's going to help catapult them into their dreams, into their goals, and into their visions, and to provide those resources that really technically are not equity distributed amongst us as people of color anyhow. And so I think we got to even take a look at the race factor. We got to take a look at why mass incarceration exists and is, and how it has impacted us as a people for hundreds of years. It's imperative to give individuals a fair shot at life. Do you want an individual to have to pay for something for the rest of his or her life after they've been transformed? After they say, hey, I want to do something different? After knowing that trauma plays a role, after knowing that race plays a role, after knowing that we didn't have the same resources to begin with, why not invest into our lives that's going to help us so that we help create sustainable communities, sustainable education systems? It's just another barrier.
You really would just be helping not only the staff out, but you're helping these people that are fleeing, the victim survivors, the family in general, be able to get the help that they need. This might be helping the entire family heal. This might be going to therapy. This actually helps us hire more therapists here, and that way we can get people, like, kind of get the ball rolling faster. If they choose that they want to stay together, that's beautiful, because then now the whole family is being able to work on what they need at the time.
I envision domestic violence just kind of going away if we're learning about healthy relationships early on and how to navigate stress and our emotions. This work wouldn't be as needed.
It is amazing to hear directly from DAP staff about the impact of their work and what they need to be sustainable as they hear participant stories and work towards creating safer communities for all of us.
As we close out this powerful and meaningful evening, we want to thank all of you for joining us from your homes.
We know that the work here at DAP must continue, and we couldn't do it without support from each and every one of you.
Thank you to DAP's storytellers, volunteers, board, staff, and supporters and sponsors.
If you haven't yet donated, please consider making a gift right now that is meaningful to you and can support this important mission. Every dollar makes a difference. Text HEALING 2022 to 53555 to help support healing, accountability, and restoration to families experiencing domestic violence.
Thank you so much for joining us, everyone, and have a great night. you.